You're in the 06010. Fantasy Focus.
Hello and welcome to Fantasy Focus Football, presented by Little Caesars, alongside Mike Clay and Field Yates. My name is Daniel Dopp in a big, different studio than what we are used to.
So, Mike, when you fly private, obviously that's often, that's mostly how you fly.
Usually how you fly.
What is it like when you get stuck on a commercial airline as opposed to the private flight? Because I feel like we did the inverse here. Daniel and I, men of the people,
Yes.
we fly commercial all the time.
Always.
So being in our tight studio is nothing new for us.
Correct.
Yeah.
But if we were ever to fly private, it would feel so spacious and luxurious, which is kind of how this studio feels to us today.
I feel right at home now.
Wow.
Usually
Wow.
we're in that cramped studio, and I feel like I
Yes.
am, flying commercial.
no
but,
COVID protocols in that studio.
I usually fly coach or coach minus, but you, I know, will fly
Right.
something
I
much
want all
better
the
than
pluses, all the
Yeah.
letters.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, all
Tough
right.
being Mike, yeah.
Well, we are in a new studio just for today. Some stuff's going on where we're getting some things worked on in the studio that we're in. So we're in a new spot. You may
Well,
recognize
yeah.
us. If you watched Fantasy Football Now over the years, we are in the Fantasy Football Now
Yeah.
studio that we used to be in. So congratulations to us. Feels breaking things
I
already.
already dropped my mic. Congratulations to
Not
you.
a
He's
problem
not
with
used to
that.
this fancy life.
That's
of this
it.
fancy technology.
Really
Usually
quickly.
I just shout really loudly and people can hear my voice on
That's
the
fair.
podcast.
That does happen. That does happen. I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Trophy Smack. TrophySmack.com. Use the promo code FOCUS10 for 10% off your order. Go get a belt or a chain or something good for your league.
new
whenever
studio?
You want. A new
Sell them.
studio, maybe. I'm sure they have those as well. And our buddy Eric Moody is in the YouTube chat right now. Go hang out with him if you have not hung out in the YouTube chat so far this year, and follow him on social media at Eric N. Moody. All right, we got a big show today. We're talking about insurance running backs. We're going to do a stardom or sit 'em segment. We're going to re-rank the top of the draft coming out of the second, or I guess going into the second half
I'll
of the year.
describe what I had in mind when I proposed this segment, and I'll
love it.
see how your guys' list compares to my list. This will be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know what? I like this too, as we'll get to it later, but we don't often spend a lot of time on those guys.
No?
Yes.
It's just like, start Christian McCaffrey.
Correct.
We never talk about
Right.
them. It's just like, so
Yep.
we'll have an opportunity to talk through some of those names.
That'll be fun. All right, let's dive into some insurance running backs that we think you need to at least have some knowledge of heading into the second half of the season. Maybe guys you need to have on your roster. There is a little bit of a caveat here.
Okay.
We could only pick players that were rostered under 50% of leagues. It's obvious when you have insurance running backs that you need to have like a David Montgomery or
Yeah.
Kyle Monungai now, who is 75%
Yes, right.
rostered. We
Yep.
stayed away from those names because they felt like the obvious ones.
Yeah, you can't pick them up.
Exactly.
Right now, right?
These are a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I think this is a good time to do this as well because bye weeks are winding down,
Yeah.
and now you're gonna have more roster flexibility on your bench, and that's the time of the year you want these guys on your bench. Some of these guys we're going to talk
in
about
case,
could be
yep.
league winners if
Absolutely.
the starter gets hurt, and now instead of needing like a fill-in quarterback or an extra defense or an extra tight end because your guy's on a bye, now you have that flexibility. You could scoop up some of these high-end insurance options.
Love that. All right, well, let's kick things off. Field Yates, I'm going to start with you. Who's your first insurance back?
Well, so we submitted these blindly, and I think what basically happened was our producer, Christina, kind of like redistributed them to each of us
Yes.
because we had a lot of crossover here. So
No surprise, because the list of appealing insurance guys that are available in this many leagues is not large.
I
Yes.
actually put 4 in a category of their own.
Agreed.
And so
I have
I don't
4
I
as
don't
well.
have all 4, but I was only assigned 2. But let me dive into one of those 2, and we start up in Buffalo. Ray Davis, who
Yeah.
would
Good
take
one.
over for James Cook. He was part of my core 4, who we saw Ray Davis at times last year fill in for James Cook, and he ran the ball very effectively. He also was a factor in the passing game a little bit as well for Buffalo. I'm not going to dive into too many statistics because a lot of these guys haven't played all that much, but a 4th-round pick in an offense that has one of the best run-blocking offensive lines in the entire NFL. He would be the guy. Ty Johnson would remain the change of pace / third down back. So Ray Davis, who's available in, by my math, 92.4% of leagues, should be added, especially if you have James Cook.
Yeah, remember last year James Cook was out for a game and we spent the week on the show and on FF Now trying to figure out who the lead back would be.
Right.
And it was Ty Johnson, who had been running essentially as the 2, got a lot more work, and he had more work last year than he has had this year as James Cook's role has evolved. And it ended up being Ray Davis pretty clearly in that game. So we've seen it, at least for that one game
we have.
sample. I'm with you. That's a very appealing guy available in a lot of leagues.
I like that. Mine's going to be, and it's not a great offense, but Tajay Spears. He might not
Okay.
even be the insurance back
was
in
on my
this
long
offense
list.
anymore.
I did not have him on my list.
Rostered in 37.5% of leagues, so available in over 60% of leagues. But don't look now. He's outscored Tony Pollard in 3 of the last 4 games, has at least 9 fantasy points in all 3 of those games as a part-time running back. The reason why I would give him a little bit of a look is because of the receiving game work. He has at least 3 catches in 4 consecutive games. Are the Titans good at football?
No.
Okay, so their offense is always on the field throwing the football because they're down all the time, which leads to a little bit of Tajay Spears uplift, I feel like, in his fantasy value. Again, not a great offense, and I think the guys that you are probably going to talk about, I have a feeling that when you guys submitted your names, because you did it before me, you're going to have the 4 guys that we really want to talk about. I have some deeper guys. That's where Tajay Spears falls for me, is like deeper leagues in this scenario.
Spears a little bit less appealing for me because if he took over for Tony Pollard and became Tony Pollard, we'd say to you that's not very appealing because Pollard was not good.
He wasn't great.
No Tajay Spears for the first 4 weeks of the season. But again, these are just names that you should be monitoring. Let's get to the meaty ones then, Mike, because I'm assuming you got the best ones.
Oh, is that how it works around?
Well, I don't know. I mean, if
I have a
Daniel was
feeling-
like, I have deep ones, and neither of my top 2 guys, or one of my top 2 guys, is not available. Who is your
Well,
first?
by the way, first of all, shout out to our producer, Dave Presley. You must be watching the show live because guess who just got added in the Fantasy Focus League?
Who?
Ray Davis.
Wow.
So he's on. He's on top of it right
That's
Good
amazing.
job, Dave.
Yeah, he's on it. Let's talk about Tyler Algier.
Yeah, that's the
who
obvious.
is
There we
the
go.
obvious one.
Let's
Yes,
just start
he is.
there.
He is the layup for sure. If something were to happen to Bijan Robinson, it would be the Tyler Algier show, which we saw during his rookie season when he was their lead back and was very effective. Nate Carter is the next running back there on the depth chart, so it should be all Algier.
He's a running back for the
He's a
Falcons.
running back.
He's a running back.
Okay,
He's a running back. He could be a candidate. In that scenario, it might be a candidate for Raheem Sanders.
Yes.
Yes,
Would be.
seriously.
For sure. I looked at Algier's stats throughout his career. There's 11 career games in which he has more than 15 touches. Guys, he's averaging 14.8 fantasy points per game, 91.8 yards per game, and has 7 touchdowns in those 11 games. So he's been pretty darn effective when he's been called on to handle a large workload.
He had 1,000 rushing yards as a rookie.
Exactly right.
Algier's a
He could
fine
do
player. He is
effective as a
annoying
pass
to us.
catcher, too.
Yeah, he's annoying for the Bijan purposes.
Yep.
But Tyler Algier, as a standalone starting running back, is a totally serviceable option.
By the way, very fascinating as he heads to free agency after this year. Could he get a 1A or a lead back job somewhere in the offseason?
Yes.
Very interested to see.
My answer is yes.
There's those guys. There's always like a couple guys like that, like Alex Madison behind James Cook.
Yeah,
he didn't, or Dalvin Cook didn't really work out, but like Michael Turner behind LT goes to Atlanta.
Yeah.
He breaks out after that.
Fantasy
So
superstar.
we've seen this kind of stuff before. I'm really interested to see him come free agency.
I want to say one more time because I said this stat, I think, on Monday when we were doing the recaps. Excuse me. But Tyler Algier in this last game had every single carry inside the 19-yard line for the Atlanta Falcons, had all 5 of them. Bijan Robinson didn't touch the ball inside the opponent's 19-yard line,
Don't
which
like
means
that.
he's getting a lot of work at the goal line as well. All right, Mike, do we want to just do your second one? Because I think you got another good one there hiding in the wings.
Yeah, I do. I did end up getting the obvious ones, although, again, I did submit 4. So at the end, if you guys don't mention this guy, which I think you will, I'll bring him back up. But my next one is Brian Robinson Jr.
Yep.
There we go.
Out there in San Fran. The other running back, the reason I was a little hesitant on him was I think if something were to happen to CMC,
Yeah, a little bit of a committee.
It would be Isaac Garendo, and you might see a little bit of Jordan James, the rookie. But I think there's enough here for Robinson. He's playing well. He's averaging almost 5 yards per carry this season, has a couple touchdowns. We've seen him, much like Algier, have high-volume seasons. He was over 214 touches each of his first 3 NFL seasons, had 8+ touchdowns in 2 of those seasons while he was in Washington. And he's, unlike CMC, he's a bit limited as a receiver. But remember, back in 2023, he was 14th among running backs in receiving yards, and I believe he led in yards per target. Like he's been effective when used. He just hasn't been used a lot. Obviously, this is an offense that's very good to running backs. CMC is not just first in targets; he's second in carries among running backs this season. So certainly, Brian Robinson Jr. would be a lineup lock. Maybe not an RB1, but maybe like a good RB2 in this scenario.
Would agree on that.
Checks out.
I think the other one that probably fits into the close to obvious category is in the NFC West as well. It's Blake Corum for the Los
Yes,
Angeles
that was the other guy on
Rams.
my
That was
list.
mine.
Who has been playing a decent amount so far this season, but still available in 91% of leagues. Kyron Williams is so effective for the Rams, and obviously Sean McVay has a very soft spot for him, which is understandable. He has been awesome for this team. But Blake Corum, we know this about this Rams offense. Whoever the starting running back is and whoever the 2 starting wide receivers are probably going to see the vast majority of the offensive work.
Yep.
So Corum should be added not just for – actually, let me ask you guys the strategy question. Are you against adding handcuffs for players that you don't have
No,
your team?
you should do that.
Okay.
Because it's you know,
double
I don't
the
want to use the
value.
wrong. I don't want to use the wrong expression here, but essentially, you're helping your team. If something were to happen in this scenario, and by the way, Blake Corum's a guy I've had on and off the end of my bench in a lot of leagues throughout this entire offseason. If I have him and Kyron goes down, you help your team while another team gets hurt instead of just helping your team. Actually, you're not even really helping your team if you have Kyron and Corum, because it's just a 1-for-1 essentially. Actually, probably a little bit of a downgrade. So, yeah, no doubt about it. I do that often.
I definitely do both of those strategies, by the way. Do you only have one? Because some people are like, I won't have the insurance back of someone I have on my own roster. I'll only have the insurance back of someone I don't have. If the best player available on the waiver wire is better than the last guy in my bench, and he is an insurance back to one of my guys, I'll go out and grab him. I don't care that I have 2 running backs from the same squad because I'm planning for the future. I'm not even using that last bench spot anyways.
Yeah, as long as you're not burning that spot.
Correct.
The guy that's say your starter gets hurt and you have the guy on your bench, and it's just like, all right, now I don't even know if I want to start him anyway.
Yeah.
Like, he's just not a good. It's a 3-headed committee now. Like, those are the guys you have to avoid.
Sure.
The last one that I have here, I did not feel very good about. Honestly, as we went through the 5, because I knew who your 4 was, I felt like finding 6 insurance running backs under 50% rostered that I actually felt like giving.
That list is dried up.
It's really tough. The only other guy that I would mention in the deepest of leagues would be Samaje Perine as a pass catcher in Cincinnati, because one of the things that we love about our fantasy matchups is a good matchup. They have the 6th easiest strength of schedule based on Mike Clay's updated strength of schedule, which was updated yesterday. So just in case Chase Brown went down, Perine could have some passing game volume in case you needed him. However, he is so far down that list in comparison to the other names that we have mentioned. The guys that you have is really where we're at with insurance running backs.
Can I throw one name that I thought about putting on there, but there's a factor that is sort of impacting his value? We remain without much of an update on Bucky Irving. Sean Tucker is behind Rachaad White. He played a lot of snaps last week, did Sean Tucker. Handled a lot of work. He is the only running back to eclipse 50 rushing yards against the Patriots so far this season. Would it totally stun you guys, if Sean Tucker, until Bucky Irving returns, has more carries than Rachaad White? White is obviously a far more valuable pass catcher, and he is going to be the higher-ranked Bucs running back as a result of that. I wonder if this past Sunday was a little bit of, hey, like, Rashaad's not running the football well. He just isn't.
I would be a little surprised just because
not totally
we've seen this.
though. I said totally.
We've seen this for a couple of years. Yeah, not completely.
I would be totally surprised.
Shattering.
Yes.
However, we've seen this for years now. Tucker's been around for a few years. Rachaad White's been there, and every time there's been this opportunity and Tucker's generated hype, it's gone right back to Rachaad White. So I'm not really too worried about it, but I haven't projected for like 10 points this week, right? I think he's going to have a role as a rusher.
It's the number one matchup for opposing running backs.
One of us, 3 of us, spent a lot of money on waivers last night for Sean Tucker. This guy, I saw you scoop them up.
Was it like $10?
Yeah, $10, $15. I just noticed in several leagues that you added Sean Tucker and spent like $10, $15 on him. So you were interested.
We play other leagues too together besides that one.
You play
what's Focus League? Did you pick? Where else? We have the Dynasty
League, FF now.
I don't know. I just posted a few times. Yeah.
Again, I'm surprised that $10 or $15 is a lot of money in your book, Mike, given the fact that you have toilet paper that costs more per ply.
You had to, my benches are so good that you actually have to pay me to take Sean Tucker.
Oh, that's what it is.
Times right now.
Sean Tucker had a huge game last year, correct?
The Saints a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago.
Yes.
And I feel like the part for me that makes me feel like I would be surprised, not totally surprised, but like we've seen him break out, and then the team didn't just be like, all right, let's see what else we have in this.
I feel you. Listen, you guys are bringing up very astute points there. I did notice on Sunday that he was the one that ran a lot better.
Shot's
than
not looking great.
White.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
He's definitely scored 3 touchdowns this week.
I know. We have no update, of course, on Bucky Irving, other than there is no timetable for his return.
Yeah, he had the injury, did not go on IR. Put that weird social post out there about essentially being disrespected or doesn't know who cares about him, those kind of things. And then it's been nothing.
He was reposting Rachaad White's thoughts on your running back.
That's what it was.
Years ago. Yeah.
And then nothing. Very bizarre. I almost wish he went on IR so we get a clearer picture, but we'll see.
All right, let's dive into some starts or sits here in Week 11. We each brought a start and a sit to the table. Mike, I'm going to start with you.
Mike got 9 for each.
By the way, my sit for this exercise was the same as yours, so I had to pick a different one.
Ooh.
So just so we're clear.
One of us does our homework on time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. My start, though, is Aaron Rodgers. Why
against
are you looking at me like that?
Against the
You two
Cincinnati
looked at each other.
Bengals. You've got them higher than I do, Mike Clay.
Yeah, I'm at QB 9 this week. 2 straight duds. He had 6.4 fantasy points last week against the Chargers, so this might seem ridiculous, but as we talk about often, it's all about the matchup against the Bengals. Top 5 in yards, touchdowns, and fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks, the highest EPA against the pass. Back in week 1, when they played the Browns, the Bengals held Joe Flacco to 12.2 fantasy points, which, first of all, very impressive. One of the best quarterbacks in fantasy over the last 4 weeks. Only 3 quarterbacks have finished top 13 in fantasy points each of their last 4 starts. One of them is Joe Flacco.
Top 14 in fantasy points?
Top
13. Top 13.
Oh,
yeah.
13? Okay.
Top 13. So it's him, it's Jacoby Brissett.
Say that again. Say the stat again.
It's the same as the Brissett stat that I tweeted
applying
yesterday.
Applying to Joe Flacco or applying to Aaron Rodgers? Not Aaron Rodgers.
No, Flacco. I'm just talking about how Flacco has been good in fantasy. Anyway,
because I watched Rodgers on Sunday night, and that was not top 13 performance.
If you watched Aaron Rodgers on Sunday, you wouldn't have ranked him this high. You only rank him this high because of the matchup.
Because
That's
of
why.
the matchup, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I was just making a joke about Flacco being really good. But
Really
the
good.
Bengals held him in check in week 1.
Yep.
But since then, fellas, they've allowed 8 straight quarterbacks to reach 15 fantasy points. They're averaging 22.2 during that stretch. That tells us we have a pretty high floor for Aaron Rodgers. The Bengals also allowed a season-high 38 points to Caleb Williams just in their most recent game. It was before the bye. And we've also seen this matchup. Aaron Rodgers faced him in Week 7. He had 4 touchdowns and 22.6 fantasy points. It was one of his biggest games of the season. So we've seen it before. I mean, if there's a week to stream Aaron Rodgers, and there's we have a couple of quarterbacks on the bye. We have now Jackson Dart's out this week. Rodgers is a viable streaming option.
Don't like it. Danny Dimes on a bye. Jackson Dart out this week. We're assuming Jane Daniels out this week. So 3 quarterbacks you may have to be able to fill in for. Field, who's your start this week?
I have a question for you, Daniel. Is your start a running back?
It is a wide receiver.
Okay, good. All right, so I want to mention a running back as well. But my start doesn't quite crack my top 10 because there are good quarterback options. But Tua Tagovailoa has my attention for this weekend.
Okay.
How about the last 4 quarterbacks facing the Washington Commanders?
Oh, boy.
You tell me whether any of these guys strike you as specifically very mobile. Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes.
He's
mobile, but not.
Yeah,
that's not
he's better.
He is running to scramble, not running as a designed runner.
Correct.
Sam Darnold.
No.
Nope.
Jared Goff.
Nope.
Clearly.
Okay, so we've established that of those, we have maybe half of a running quarterback in there. Dak Prescott against the Commanders, 23.3 fantasy points. Patrick Mahomes, he was bad, 23.0 fantasy points against the Commanders. Sam Darnold, 27.2 fantasy points against the Commanders.
Wow.
Jared Goff, 24.8 fantasy points against the Commanders this past week. I was kidding, of course, on Mahomes, even though he did score the fewest of those 4 quarterbacks against this Commanders defense that I think is on the short list for worst in the NFC, not the NFL because the Bengals play. That being said, it's so bad they're making a coordinator change. It's now Dan Quinn taking over for Joe Witt. This team is strapped for personnel, injuries. Marshawn Lattimore and Trey Amos.
That's their starting perimeter corners.
Both of their 2 top perimeter corners are now out for the year. Lattimore because of an ACL. This past week, Trey Amos broke a fibula. So not good on either front. This team is bereft of game-changing pass rushers, and I don't know, to the extent that this matters, their best defensive tackle is out for the game because he got suspended in Deron Payne. So I love the matchup here for Tua. He's very streaky. He's a hard guy to trust, but it wouldn't surprise me if Tua eclipses 20 fantasy points this weekend.
I like it. With that
good call.
matchup, it's tough to be able to go away. Yeah, I love that. I'm going to talk about a wide receiver here, rostered in 86% of leagues, which is a
the
good thing.
backup one. Go ahead.
Jamison Williams has looked really good in 3 of his last 4 games.
Homer.
A little bit. And I didn't want to do this because I didn't want people to say you're a homer. However, if you've been waiting for Jamison Williams to become a usable part of your fantasy lineup, unlike he was for the first half of the season, last month of the season it has happened. Second on the team in targets over the last month of the season. Dan Campbell, if you watch that game, looked intent on getting Jamison Williams involved in his first game taking over play calling duties. At least 16.5 fantasy points in 3 of those 4 games. Eagles have been pretty decent against wide receivers. Only 5 wide receivers have topped 15 fantasy points against the Philadelphia Eagles this year. If you watched, and it was tough, trying to watch Sunday Night Football, you know, you're the team, whenever you're the team that, Monday Night Football. Whenever you're the team that plays that team the following week and you're watching that Island game, it's like, what can I take away from this? I don't know what I could take away from that Eagles-Packers game because everybody just looks so bad.
They're not very good on offense.
Defense looked really great, though, so maybe something to be able to be aware of. However, Jamison Williams, I am buying the Dan Campbell hype with what they have done and the way they've gotten him utilized over the last 4 weeks. Excuse me. I have him as wide receiver 23.
Wow.
I'm less convinced.
Fields,
That
you have him
is
as
high.
wide receiver 31. Mike's got him as wide receiver 35.
Yeah, I mean, look,
feels like a
he
board
does had 2 good games in a row, but coming off the bye, it seems like and I wrote about this for the playbook, so it'll be in there tomorrow. I broke this Jamison Williams down a little bit. He's still been very boom bust. I don't know if this streak's going to continue. We've seen these big games before, and then he's come flying back to earth. I am a little concerned about the matchup here. He is going to see a lot of Quinyon Mitchell in this game. I don't think it'll be a full-time shadow, but with Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot, you're going to see Quinyon on him quite a bit because if the Eagles have a weak spot right now in the secondary, it's Adoree Jackson or Keely Ringo, whoever's on the other side. They'll be on Khalif Raymond or Isaac Tesla or something like that. So they're probably going to prioritize Williams on the perimeter. So I'm not sure. I could see him having, he could hit for an 80-yard touchdown at any point. But
Of course.
I just don't know that this is the week where I feel super optimistic about him. The Eagles have been very good against receivers.
They have been
JMO
good.
also capitalizing on remarkable efficiency, like 7 targets last week. He turns into 6 for over 100 in the touchdown.
And that's not always the case, right? Yeah.
Let's board bet this.
I like it.
You have him wide receiver 23. I'm at
23.
31. Mike's at 35.
Yeah, I'll take the other end of this. Yeah, I mean, I just put more on the line for our Lions, Eagles.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Have we decided a wager for this yet?
No,
or
we didn't.
Not officially.
We have to think about that.
Not officially.
So I had an idea. You guys can decide whether it's a good idea or not. Chat can also contribute here. I think if the Eagles win, then Daniel has to. I'm sorry. Actually, I guess that would go both ways. I was going to say
going great.
if the hold on, I had a good idea. If the Lions win, I was going to say Mike either has to get a full sleeve tattoo.
Yep.
Or a full beard.
Okay.
But there's not really a reciprocal for
You have to cut
Daniel.
off
Like, what
his
do I
beard
do?
or
Right.
Remove a
Do I have
tattoo.
to get
Shave
one?
your beard.
Yeah, shave my
Shave
beard
your-
or remove
your
a tattoo.
Guys, I'm not going to lie. I just saw Daniel's shirt right now.
You just finally
I
got
just
it?
saw it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Your shirt was covering it.
So good.
In case you guys
saw
can't
too.
see my shirt, I did. My wife put this together. This is Mike's haiku. In case you were wondering, we decided to make a shirt.
It was covered, so I didn't even notice it.
And
Okay,
that's
can you
so
read it
funny.
for us again?
Yeah, absolutely. In case you didn't see it, this is a haiku that says, "Need 10 points to win. 57-yard touchdown. Flag on the play. Pain."
That is so good. Can
So-
we sell those?
We probably could.
I need my own.
We
I want
probably
royalties.
could.
What's funny is that Daniel wears so many shirts of either bands or like quotes from bands that I have literally never heard of that I just assumed it was. I didn't actually read it. I was just like,
You
oh,
assume
look
it's
at
a
that.
real shirt.
I assume it's a real shirt of a band. And
Love
I was
that.
like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I didn't think twice about it. Could we just Trophy Smack do shirts or something? Maybe they could put a line.
They
of
might
shirts
now.
on. Light a line of haiku shirts.
That is really
That's
good.
so
right
good.
there.
You have 3 and count.
All right, so 23, 31, and 35. How do we make this fair? 23 to 31 is 8. Top 27 wide receiver. So if he's 27 or better, you win. 28 below, I win.
Sure. Wait, we're going with you or with Mike?
Well, I guess we're all kind of in the mix. You want the other side of it?
Well, I'm on the low. I'm the lowest. You're the highest.
I guess
so
so.
it's up to you.
I get the exact tie
Oh,
only.
you get
Okay.
27.
So
I-
27. I think he's a top 27 wide receiver. Is that right?
Well, 23 to 35 is 12 spots, so it'd be top 29 for Daniel.
I like that
Okay.
even more.
Okay, yeah.
All right. I say Jamison Williams will be a top 29 wide receiver here in Week 11.
I say Jamison Williams will not be a top 29 fantasy receiver in Week 11.
And for what it's worth, I say Jameis Williams will be a top 29. I'll be exactly wide receiver 29 for Week 11.
Put it on the board.
on the board.
All right, love it.
If
Let's
he
dive
hits
into
wide
it.
receiver 29, I will.
I'll be pumped.
It'd be awesome.
One of these days, I want the middle
The
number
tie
to
to
hit.
win.
Yes,
Yes, it'd be
exactly.
awesome.
Always
Yeah.
take the tie.
Yep.
All right. Did we all do a start?
Yes, we did.
All
I want
right.
to
Oh,
mention
you had one
name.
more.
I want to mention a name that I think he'll come up over the next few days, anyways.
Nate Carter.
Yes.
Okay.
Woody Marks is a pretty high ranking for me this week, guys. Played
Mm-hmm.
80% of the snaps this past weekend. Just
We'll talk
let's
about
make
him
sure
tomorrow.
that we
I
talk
think.
about Woody Marks
We will.
more over the next couple of days.
Yeah,
He
baby.
definitely has my interest.
All right, let's start with our sits then. Mike Clay, if you had to sit somebody this
Yeah.
This
week,
is your second choice.
This is my second choice. The first one was kind of fun because it was kind of related to my start,
Yeah.
which you'll get to in a second. I'll let you handle that. But guys, I'm gonna stir the pot a little bit with this one. Ready
Patrick
for this one?
Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes.
I thought about him.
Guys, where were you on January 1st, 2023? Where were you up to?
Mike, where was I?
Where were you
January
up to?
1st,
was I up to?
2023.
I was in high school, senior year.
Week 17 of the 2022 season.
Was buried in a bunker somewhere in Uzbekistan. Field was in high school.
There was a football game that day. It was New Year's Day football game.
Okay.
All right. You know what happened on that day?
No.
Patrick Mahomes.
That was the most recent day that Patrick Mahomes reached 18 fantasy points against the Denver Broncos.
Wow.
It's been a while. We're in, what is it? We're coming up on 2026 New Year's. This was 2023 New Year's Day. So
Wow.
He's faced the Broncos 3 times over the last 2 seasons.
So that's the 2022 season then,
Yes.
if it was 2023 New Year's Day. Wow.
Yeah, 3 games since that point. A total of 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, 13.2 fantasy points per game. And the Denver defense is playing better than they have. I mean, they've been good for a while.
Yeah.
But they are really playing at a high level right now. We'll see if Pat Surtain plays in this game. But either way, they have been playing at an extremely high level. They have, 15 more sacks than any other team? I mean, it's just ridiculous the level they're playing at. Now, I will say this. The Chiefs, the last 2 years, the offense has not been at their peak during the Mahomes era. They are better this year. I will say that about Mahomes. If they were playing like they were the last 2 years, this might be a straight-up benching for Mahomes.
Yep.
I don't think that's the case, but you have to lower expectations. The Broncos have allowed the fewest passing touchdowns, 8 so far this season. The second fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks. Only 3 quarterbacks have even hit 15 against them. And I mean, we want 18. I mean, there's times quarterbacks score 20 and are not in the top 10. I mean, you need more points than that. So I think that with Mahomes, you're going to be really hard pressed to bench him. But I have him at 10 in my rankings this week. It's a possibility that you have a better option.
I have him at quarterback 12.
There you go.
So I'm even lower than Mike.
All right, maybe this is not as controversial.
No,
as
it's not. I almost had Mahomes. It's just a hard. So I haven't decided whether I'm going to actually do this. But in our Fantasy Football Now League, I'm playing Daniel this weekend.
Okay.
I believe it's the 2 versus 3 game, second versus third place. Mike, though, off the schneid. Mike's still the highest scoring team.
You got a dub list last week?
I did.
Way to go.
Knocked off Liz. She
Still
ended
the highest
losing
scoring team
streak.
in the league. Yep. And going to be a force when the playoffs roll around. I do have Patrick Mahomes.
Who's your backup? Who's your alternative?
C.J. Stroud.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay.
I've got C.J. Stroud ranked higher. I don't know whether obviously Stroud has to clear concussion protocol. We'll find out if that happens later on. Well, as soon as later on today.
Yep.
But man alive, Stroud draws the Texans.
Tough call.
Nice. No, Stroud is on the Texans.
He
Stroud
draws the Titans for
There you
the
go.
Texans.
There you go. Yep.
Good matchup. Yeah,
What if, you know what? The Texans were like, listen, man, it's going to be Davis this week, but you can face our defense.
But you can play, yeah.
For fun. Just we'll get you some reps.
exactly. It's a tough one because it's like, would anyone be shocked if Mahomes just puts up a cool 24 points on Denver? I mean, not really.
This year.
No. He's that good. I mean, he's at that level. They're going to be throwing a lot. Rasheed scores. Travis scores. He runs for 35 yards. Like, he could get to 20.
Yeah.
You guys have been. I was the one out on Mahomes. You were in on him earlier this season. Now I feel like we've swapped. Where
It's
temporary.
It's a tough matchup.
the matchup.
This is
a
one
tough
of them hard
matchup,
calls
man.
this week.
So the weird thing for me is, and it's not weird. Weird is not the right word. But it's like we're talking about maybe the best player on the planet in regular football that has finally looked good after 2 back-to-back bad years. Finally looked good, and now we're saying in a tough matchup, still to maybe consider benching him. Yeah, I know. It's one of those things.
Like, you have reasonable options this week. Like, I'm not going to the extreme. I mentioned Tua. I wouldn't go as far as Tua in terms of streaming him over Patrick Mahomes, right? I said Tua remains just outside my top 10. Mahomes is at number 12. But Aaron Rodgers against the Bengals make literally everybody they play look like the best quarterback in the NFL. We mentioned C.J. Stroud. Stroud draws the Titans, not the Texans. Great matchup there as well. So,
and we've got 2 other quarterbacks that have done well. I'm sure we'll talk about in both Joe Flacco and Jacoby Brissett that have been top 13 for 4 straight games. So you've at least got some options there. All right, let's keep moving ahead. We'll talk about some more of those guys later on.
Yeah.
Field, your sit for this week, which is who Mike originally wanted to take, is
DeKalin Metcalf.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's right.
Aaron Rodgers is a start against the Bengals, and DK Metcalf is a sit.
Yeah, so how did Aaron Rodgers do the last time these 2 teams played?
4 touchdowns? Is
4
that what you said?
touchdowns on
lit it
Thursday
up.
Night Football.
Were those
How
all
many of those went to DK Metcalf? 0.
Zero.
As a matter of fact, he had 3 catches for 50 yards on 5 targets when these 2 teams last played.
Was this the 3-touchdown tight end game? Was where he gave it to Pat Fryermuth and
Probably.
Darnell Washington?
Yeah,
I think
so.
it was.
Yeah.
I think Mike deserves a lot of credit because I don't think America's football conscious realized how much of a star DJ Turner is. They are literally 10 players that are bad and 1 player that's good on the Bengals defense. Maybe 9 when Trey Hendrickson plays as well. But DJ Turner is going to make himself a crap ton of money very soon because he has emerged as one of the best lockdown corners in the entire NFL. He blanked blanked Rome Odunze 2 weeks ago. Wasn't the only reason why that happened, but I would say the largest contributing factor by far was DJ Turner. So he'll draw that shadow this week, I believe, not to spoil wide receiver cornerback matchup. And what do you think the most catches in a game that DK Metcalf has this season? Guess.
4.
That's what I would have said. I'll say 4.
5. So you guys were off by 1, but still, he has no more than 5 catches in a game.
Field, I know that you're not officially an NFL GM, but if you paid someone $150 million.
Listen, it's some of those contract negotiations we had over the summer. You think back on them and you're like, we were doing that over these players.
Over this?
Remember, it was like people were like, the Commanders should pay whatever it takes to get Terry McLaurin back into the fold. It's like, brother, if they gave, people were like, I don't care if it's Justin Jefferson money. Like,
You should care if it's Justin
what
Jefferson
are we
money.
doing here?
You should.
Right? Like, come on. DK Metcalf makes $33 million a year to be utilized as an accessory in the offense, not the focal point of the offense. Pretty much everything the Seahawks did this offseason was smart. Including trading DK Metcalf and making JSN the guy in the offense.
Yeah, a lot of people thought going from, trading away Geno and signing Sam Darnold was like a
best move of the offseason.
Yeah,
Is it
But
that
they
or
didn't think
Daniel
that
Jones?
They thought
at
it
the
was
time.
a lateral move, and it was not close to a lateral move.
No.
Sorry. I was saying people did think what you were saying.
Yeah,
I think it's the best move along with Daniel Jones of the offseason. Just for one more sort of the exclamation point on this, how many games with 100 yards do you think DK Metcalf has this season?
This year, 0.
1.
One, yeah.
One long. Oh, he has that long, like 80-yard touchdown.
83-yard touchdown catch.
That was
he
on a
had.
Sunday morning. Yeah, I believe that was
Dude,
a Sunday
honestly,
morning.
DK is one of the best European wide receivers in the NFL.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember when Kyle Pitts had only scored a touchdown on non-American soil?
international,
That's
yeah.
DK Metcalf in the year of our Lord 2025.
I love Mike saying like, oh, DK Metcalf, I think he scored that on a Sunday. He scored that touchdown on a Sunday, right? It's like just like
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning. He said.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
Sunday morning,
okay,
yeah.
got it.
Yes,
Okay,
it was,
all right.
I had it on a Tuesday in my own brain.
That's okay.
Scored that on a Wednesday, right?
I do want to say this. Pat Freiermuth, 5 for 11 and 2 touchdowns. Jonnu Smith, 3 for 28 and a touchdown. Darnell Washington, 3 catches, 2 yards and a touchdown. 4 touchdowns to tight ends in that game against the Bengals earlier this year.
start 'em all.
To that point, exactly. Yeah, don't do
I don't know about that.
But to that point, though, if DJ Turner is going to lock down DK Metcalf, and again, we'll get into this more tomorrow in receiver corner, but we've essentially laid it out. He'll shadow him in this game. He shut him down last time. And the Bengals have the worst defensive EPA in the NFL. I mean, it raises everyone else. So there's some serious sleeper appeal here for the tight ends. Calvin Austin, for sure. And, of course, the running backs led by Jalen Warren.
I just thought of this. And it would be the greatest call in the history of Fantasy Focus if it actually happens. A few weeks ago, I was watching the Steelers during one of their pride time games, and they threw a pass to an offensive tackle who looked incredibly smooth catching them. I think it was Spencer Anderson, I believe his name was. I was like, that was way too impressive to be an offensive tackle. Sunday, Spencer Anderson receiving touchdown.
No.
This better be
My Raheem Sanders.
This is it. Yeah, you should have saved it.
That would have been
I might
no
bring
one
it back.
could start him, but yeah.
I was gonna say, so that was
can't
gonna
start
be
him, yeah.
that was gonna be my pivot. Is like maybe starts of the week this week. We each have to pick a Pittsburgh Steelers tight end to be able
Or
to
a
start
lineman.
in our tight end spot.
Can
Oh
I
yeah,
give-
or a lineman or
Can
something.
I can give Anderson tight end eligibility, then then he could pick him.
Wait, do you have that power?
I do. I have that power.
Do you?
Wow, Mike Clay, we just found out a cheat code.
Yeah,
All right.
I just change I give all the players on my team's tight end eligibility, so I
Where-
can just put like my quarterback and my
Jamar
tight end.
Chase,
and
checks
tight
out.
end this week. That's
That
awesome.
checks out.
Anyways, who's your sit?
Where did you have DK ranked? Did you say the number?
29th, I believe it is.
29.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
at 32. So
Okay, got it.
That's the lowest we've had him all year.
My sit this week is also going to be
Patrick Mahomes.
attached to Patrick Mahomes,
Oh, Kelsey.
and it is Xavier Worthy.
Oh, yeah.
Rostered in 90% of leagues. This is one of those things where I looked at the roster percentage and I was just like, man, I feel like we've known this, but it just continues to be the same thing.
This is rough.
I want to say the good news first. Good news. At least 7 targets in back-to-back games. Since Rashee Rice has returned, he's second on the Chiefs in target share.
That's good.
Both of those are good things in a Patrick Mahomes-led offense.
Yeah.
The bad news, his best game since week 5 is 11.1 fantasy points.
Seems bad.
He has not had a game with even 55 receiving yards since week 5. Meanwhile, Rashee Rice has scored 18.6, 23.2, and 25.2 games in his 3 games back. Xavier Worthy is averaging 8 points per game since Rashee Rice's return. At this point, you thought maybe you could have just like had a flex option in Rashee Rice. it doesn't even feel like he's startable at this point. And in this matchup against the Denver Broncos, I don't know if he's going to get a shadow with the way that he's played even here. I've got him outside my top 30, wide receiver 36 for me. I am benching Xavier Worthy.
We're all there with you on that one. He's been a frustrating one. It would be sort of unbelievable, but we're currently on track for this, to have an entire season, yes, he missed a few games there, of Xavier Worthy not even reaching 20 fantasy points once.
Seems crazy.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. It doesn't. Sometimes the math just doesn't math, like you just said. I mean, how are you second in line for targets on this offense? It's scoring 4 touchdowns a game for the last month and a half. It doesn't
Maybe
make any
at some
sense.
point he has, like, I think it's reasonable to expect, like, there's going to be, we have what, 8 games left for the Chiefs? 8 games left. Maybe he hits in 2 of those games.
Yeah.
But I'm not counting on 6.
But
coming into the season, he was like a top 15 wide receiver consideration.
Because coming into the season, you knew you had 6 games without Rashee Rice, and you were like, boy, it feels like he's going to be the guy, right?
Yeah,
and then it
first
just
round
hasn't
pick last
materialized.
year was terrific last season, and when he was in the second half, it's a wild one.
I think we can all wonder what would have been different had he not gotten banged up, and is that injury impacting him
wonder
at
about
some
that
point
too.
this year? Like that's a thing. All right, let's dive into a re-ranking of the top 10. Which one of you brought this to the table?
I brought this to the table. Mike brings nothing to the table except for elite insight. So my
I
idea
bring
was
poems.
Yeah,
There's
poems.
merchandise.
That's right, poems. That's right.
Merchandise. So basically, the way I was thinking about it is, this actually was spurred as I was thinking about Justin Jefferson after Sunday's performance. Once again, disappointing. And my thought was, has Justin Jefferson been the least valuable first-round pick in all of fantasy football this season?
Yeah.
There are a few factors to consider here, and we can dive into that. Health is obviously a driving force. Also, like, where you go in the first round really matters. So what we did was we went back and we took the players that finished in the top 10 of our final preseason ADP this year. How I rank them is who has, to this point, paid off with the most value through the first 10 weeks of the season. It's not, hey, if I could redo it for the rest of the year, here's how I value these guys.
When you say most value, do you mean just straight up most fantasy points, or is it most
Like,
value?
most value
Okay,
because again, if Jamar Chase, who was no surprise, preseason ADP number 1, had outscored somebody by 3 points who was taken 10th overall, you're getting a full round discount and getting only 3 fewer points. That would be more valuable.
Okay.
We can also, of course, use this as a point to talk about these players going forward.
Yeah.
So do you want to just each start with our number 1 player and just work our way around?
Why don't we unveil the list first of what the top 10 was? Let's do that.
This is what we're working with.
So this was the top 10 heading into that Thursday night football game of week 1. Shout out to Keith Lipscomb, who got this to us earlier this season. Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Gibbs. That is your top 5 heading into the preseason, the season. 6 through 10, Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Ashton Genty. Those are the 10 that we are working with.
Yeah, so just keep in mind a couple obvious names missing here, so they won't be included here. Jonathan Taylor, Puka Nacua, Devon Achane, Drake London. So those, obviously, JT's been unreal.
We'll dive into
unreal.
I'll ask you guys about those guys afterwards.
We can get them later, but just to be clear, when we say like the best value, we're not. We're including
a reminder of the first round that Puka had fallen so far because we were worried about Matthews back that at the start of the season he wasn't even a first round option. So Field, when you're looking at the first round now, where are you going with this one as far as best value at this point?
I think the answer is clear. It's Christian McCaffrey, who went 6th overall. So you're getting a half round discount on Christian McCaffrey, who has been one of the top 2 players in all of fantasy football this season when you factor in the position he plays, the points he has scored, and the fact that, and while Puka Nacua deserves all the praise that he is getting, he did miss a game there. He also missed most of a game prior. So you've had kind of 2 weeks where you were held back a little bit by Puka Nacua. So Christian McCaffrey, to me, clearly the best first-round value.
Yeah, top 10 finisher all but 1 week so far this season. He had that one dud where he had like 9.8 points or something like that. But yeah, he's been unreal. And by the way, efficiency-wise, pretty bad as a rusher. I mean, what was the stat?
He has not yet eclipsed 18 yards on a single rush this season.
Which is unreal. He's the only player at a certain threshold.
55 qualifiers.
Which that's kind of unreal. So he's averaging like 3.3 yards per carry. But volume is king, as we say, and he's getting an enormous amount, as I mentioned earlier, second in carries, first in targets among running backs, on pace to break his own record in terms of reception. So, yeah, he's been.
I said this earlier this week, but he has the second most receptions in the NFL, not amongst running backs, second most receptions, even amongst wide receivers in the NFL, and sixth most receiving yards, also amongst wide receivers. So the idea that he's been inefficient on the ground, imagine if you all of a sudden start finding some efficiency, because he's been unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't
as a
know.
pass
But by
catcher.
the way, another reason to maybe throw Brian Robinson Jr. on your bench, regardless of if you have CMC, because this is an enormous amount of volume for CMC, and you wonder if he'll be able to hold up all
Totally.
Clear-cut number one, though, totally cosigned Field.
Yeah.
Number two.
Number two. I actually felt like this one was a pretty clear-cut answer for number two. I'm going Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Me too. That's why I have second.
Yep. So Amon-Ra was 9th in preseason ADP, so close to a full round discount that you were getting off of Amon-Ra. And week 1 was not great. 3 catches for 36 yards. Double-digit fantasy points in every game since then, amongst the league leaders in catches and receiving touchdowns. He's one of the few things in fantasy football that for like 3 straight years now has just been about what you expect and hope for out of a first-round pick. So to me, Amon-Ra is number 2. Mike had him as well. Anything to add to that?
I just wanted to point out that he has just 6 fewer fantasy points than Jamar Chase. So it was very much the consensus first overall pick. So I would agree that getting him at 9 versus Chase at 1 is tremendous value.
Who'd you
Great
have?
point. I actually had Jamar Chase because I still like Jamar with Joe Flacco.
Wow.
Like second half of the season, I think he's going to continue to be a guy with the way that, what was it? He had like 23 targets and 19 targets or something like that in each of the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
he's been great. I mean, he
amazing.
had very poor first month too,
Of
and that's not what
course.
you want for your first overall
course.
pick or maybe second overall pick. But I'm a little lower on Chase, which we'll get to. But
All right.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah, I have Jamar Chase number 3 here. So
Okay.
because of the fact that in order to be number 1 after being drafted number 1, you have to be the best player in fantasy football and has to not be particularly close amongst the 10 guys taken in the first round. While that first month was quiet for Jamar Chase, he has now played 9 games. 6 of them have been monsters for Jamar Chase. So 2 out of 3 games so far this season, Jamar Chase has been a potential week winner for you. So thank you, Joe Flacco, for getting this season back on.
and we might have Joe Burrow back in 2 weeks, according to his timeline. So who do you have there?
Number 3, I had Jahmyr Gibbs,
Me too.
actually.
That's who I have.
Gibbs, all right. Yep.
4 more fantasy points than Bijan Robinson, who was, of course, drafted, according to this ADP, 3 spots earlier.
You know, the
We'll
big
get to him
difference,
shortly.
when I look at Jahmyr and Bijan this year, the big difference, other than Bijan gets more receiving game work, is the Falcons have made it a point to use the number 2 running back more than it feels like the Lions have with David Montgomery. Montgomery is not the same running back that he was the last 2 years in this offense, and so I feel like you've seen a lot more Tyler Algier taking away value from Bijan Robinson, where last couple of years it was David Montgomery kind of doing that.
A little bit. I think we've kind of forgotten that Bijan was lighting the world on fire to begin the season.
To start the year?
Even, 2 weeks ago? Didn't he have a massive game? Yeah.
Well, his duds.
He's had 3 straight games under 18. Bijan has.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
but
Well,
still.
maybe it was before that. Maybe.
But his duds are such good duds. Like they're such high floor duds for Bijan.
Yep.
you know?
20% target share and all that. He's been good. I would say, Jahmyr Gibbs has kind of been a little bit boom bust the last month or so, too. He's had some low games,
Why
some
he's
high
a
games.
little lower than me. For me,
Yeah,
yes.
fair enough. But overall, he's been outstanding. I'm curious to see what they look like this week. Again,
Yeah.
the Eagles' defense is
Very real.
starting to-
Yep.
yeah.
2 best games of the season have happened in the last month. 2 worst games of the season for
Yeah, there
Jahmyr
you go.
Gibbs have happened in the last month. So there you go.
Boom bust.
Field,
by
number 4.
definition.
Number 4 for me is Bijan. I kind of just hinted at it.
I've got him
Me
there,
too.
too.
And he
I'm
has
at 4.
been slightly more consistent than Jahmyr Gibbs. Mike mentioned the past month for Gibbs. It's been 2 duds in 4 games and 2 excellent games. Bijan's had a couple of low games. 10.8 fantasy points this past week. He's been slightly more consistent. And I sort of track this with like boom versus bust games.
Sure.
And they've had the same number of boom games with 1 fewer total bust game from Bijan. So he is number 4 overall.
Yeah, fair enough. I just felt like they're so close. Again,
Yeah, it's
Gibbs
not-
has outscored Robinson, and he was available 3 picks later. So for me, it felt like
Wow.
slightly better value. But it's a toss-up.
Crazy. Field and I have Bijan Robinson at 4. Mike has Brian Robinson Jr. at 4. So that's hot take.
Hey.
So Bijan makes it to 4 for all of us. I had Jamar Chase at 3. You had Jamar Chase at 2.
Yep.
Number 5, I have Jahmyr Gibbs here. I don't need to add too much more. Than
I have Chase at 5. We
Okay,
just talked
Chase
about
at
that.
5.
And I had Amon-Ra St. Brown. So our
Wow,
top
I'm
5
surprised you're low on
were
him,
all
Amon-Ra.
the same, I believe.
Show is not a homer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly what it is.
We do have the same 5 players in the first 5 slots. The biggest discrepancy appears to be your affinity for Chase and relatively cooler ranking on Amon-Ra versus the inverse.
Correct.
Yep. Number 6.
Yeah, so by the way, I think that is the line, right? top 5 seems pretty straightforward here.
I
in
agree.
This experiment.
Yes.
I agree. So I feel like these 5 players, if you drafted them, you don't have much regret.
No,
even
feeling
if,
good.
there could have been other answers.
Agreed.
It gets interesting at number 6.
It does.
Yeah.
And this is up to this point, people. It is not what this looks like for the rest of the season. If you watched the show yesterday, you know that I'm very high on CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to go with Ashton Genty at number 6.
Me too.
Whoa!
I thought I was going to be high on him, but yeah. Darn.
So I kind of use Saquon as the baseline here for Ashton
me
Genty. Each of them has 3 games under 10 fantasy points.
Okay.
They each only have 1 game over 20 fantasy points. Genty actually has another one with 19.9. I could have made it, he has 2 with 19.9 or better, but still. Slightly more boom and the same number of busts. And he was taken as 10th overall. Saquon was 3rd overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. This is where I have Genty. I actually initially did a list and I had him lower, and then I looked a little closer and I was like, no way, he's actually been much
Waters
better.
kind of found his level.
You know what? It's a lot like Jamar Chase. Like, he was atrocious the first month, and now he's been a lot better. Maybe not at Chase's level, but he's been good. He's suddenly 12th in fantasy points among running backs. He's been a top 15 scorer now in 5 of 6 after the slow first 3 games of the season. 17.6 fantasy points per game since week 4 is RB11. So, he's not at that absolute ceiling, but he's just been a really secure, solid back-end RB1 now for going on 2 months. So he's been much better. And obviously adding receiving work to his plate has been a big part of that.
Some of us talk about loving CeeDee Lamb, and some of us live loving CeeDee Lamb. So I got CeeDee Lamb here at number 6, in part because I just feel like this is going to, you mentioned all the reasons yesterday. They're going to keep throwing the ball. He hasn't been super healthy. Finally getting back, I think he's going to be a part of this.
So I would just say up to this point, the argument against would be that, he missed 4 games basically. One where he played and then didn't finish the game. He had 0 catches. And then 3 other weeks where he was not available because of injury. And as we discussed yesterday, he has yet to finish inside the top 10 for wide receivers.
I know.
In a week this season.
Good floor, but he's averaging 18.1 fantasy points per game. So he's been good, but I agree. I have him I have him 2 spots lower
How
than
can
this.
you average 18.1 fantasy points per game and you've never finished top 10 at the position? That just goes to show you.
He's been number 10.
Okay,
He has not
okay.
been inside the top 10.
Yeah,
he
and
was
that's-
number
but-
10 once.
Oh, some semantics there with the way
Well,
you're
I mean,
saying it. Okay, all right.
listen,
You're
yeah,
right.
we'll
That's how
run
we got to
some-
do it.
Yeah, more on that shortly with a similar receiver that
Okay.
is
All
right.
ranked about the same time.
So that was
number
6.
7 for me is Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
All right, so we're kind of all in lockstep. Again, I use the delineation between he and Genty as they have a similar number of boom and bust games. Barkley went 3rd.
Yep.
Genty went 10th. That, to me, was how I drew the edge in favor of Ashton
Yeah, I
Genty.
think people would be surprised to know that. How many more points do you think Saquon Barkley has scored than Genty this season? The whole season since week 1.
65.
Oh, the whole season?
Yeah,
8.
10.
It's close, yeah.
Did you say 65?
I'm trying to be, like when you tee up the question, clearly it's a small,
very small
number.
number,
So
yeah.
I'm trying to be able to
130.
give
I think
some-
that would surprise people. It's about
Yeah.
1 point per week.
Yeah.
He's averaging more than Genty. Kind of wild.
I have Saquon Barkley here, and I have not yet put Ashton Genty on my list, only because when I'm thinking about these teams for the rest of the season, the Philadelphia Eagles have a chance with their roster to catch fire and look like the offense that they're supposed to be. And mind you, it hasn't really happened the way, but like they have the ability to do that. The Raiders are still just the Raiders. So for me, as much as I love Ashton Genty, just like because of the offense and the ability of like the Eagles are playing for something, I could see Saquon, he could easily have a run the second half of the year where it's all of a sudden, 3 straight 2-touchdown games with the way that the Eagles are going to utilize the rest of the
I
year.
think just the point of this experiment, though, is that like Genty at 10 in ADP has paid off a little better than Saquon's 3rd overall pick investment. So.
He has. I was just ranking for best value rest of season. I thought Saquon was better rest of season
Well,
given the offense.
I followed the rules of the assignment, so it's okay. Don't
all right.
worry about it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Number 8 for me is Justin Jefferson. And he only gets the edge because of availability, right? He's played every game. He has been uninspiring for many of those games. I don't really have a strong case for Jefferson. Truly, he's been a disappointment.
I've got Genty at 8. That's where he falls for me. He's right after Saquon.
I have Jefferson at 9, actually. So I have
too.
CeeDee Lamb here. We just talked about him.
It's funny, I said I was like, frankly, I don't have a lot of nice things to say. I'm disappointed.
And you're higher than him.
And then you were like, really? Well, I have him even lower. Like,
do,
only
I do,
buoys my case.
Yeah, look, I think, CeeDee Lamb has missed 3 games, but again, still averaging 18 fantasy points per game. When he's played, he's had a high floor, he's delivered. You still feel good about him going forward as well.
I do, yeah.
Jefferson, 14.7 fantasy points per game this season. 0 finishes better than wide receiver 8. So similar
That
to
would be
CeeDee Lamb.
0 inside the top 8.
That's it.
Right,
That's
so you're
it.
not getting that ceiling that you expect from a guy you take with the 4th overall pick in this case, or
Yep.
same thing with Lamb, 7th overall. And Jefferson also only 2 better than 18th as well. So
let me ask you this. If I gave you 2 options, which take is hotter? CeeDee Lamb will be wide receiver 1 for the rest of the season, or Justin Jefferson will be wide receiver 1 for the rest of the season?
the hotter
Jefferson.
take is definitely Jefferson.
Okay.
It's more likely to be
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb.
I agree.
No doubt, yeah.
Did you think that was a hot take yesterday? We did a hot take show. One of mine was CeeDee Lamb finishes. Do you want to revisit those for a second?
Wow.
CeeDee Lamb
All
is
right.
wide receiver 1 overall for the rest of the
That's
season.
your hot take?
On a
Okay.
scale of
I
1
like
to
that.
10, is that like a 5?
I would say, with Nakua and JSN and them
I
guys,
know,
it
it's
makes
hard.
it tricky, but I'd say 5. I mean, I don't think it's that wild.
The other one was CJ Stroud would be a top 12 quarterback the rest of the season.
Okay, I could buy that too. He's hanging right around that fringe. So.
All right.
I like it.
Anyways, so you're at Genty here.
I had Genty here, and I will wait for number 9, but I got stuff to say
I'm
on
surprised
Jefferson.
you're that low on Genty, but I guess you're just saying Raiders.
The Raiders are just not good
And
at
you
football.
also did it a little different. You're
Like, what an opportunity.
I did it based on what the
Hey.
freaking screen says.
I did
Sorry.
it based on what Field said to do, and he's the boss.
Do we have a legend? Do we have a potential boom spot for Genty? We do on
Yes,
Monday night.
absolutely.
So it'd be interesting to see how things go against the Cowboys. Data has suggested that the Cowboys are a defense you can run against. This will be the first time the Cowboys have potentially 4 new starters on defense, though, this week, right? Quinnen Williams, Logan Wilson, Siobhan Ravel, and also Demarion Overshown, their linebacker, who those guys all could be in the lineup against the Raiders. We got the number 9, right?
Now we're at number 9.
Number 9. CeeDee Lamb for me, just availability. So,
I said Jefferson. Yeah.
Mine is Justin Jefferson, and I will just say the reason why it's Justin Jefferson is because I came into the season touting over and over, as I have every other offseason,
Yep.
there is one wide receiver in the NFL that is quarterback agnostic. And this year, Justin Jefferson has not been quarterback agnostic, unfortunately, in the same way that he has.
Yeah.
So he falls for me.
One of my topics I want to talk about over the next 2 days is the Vikings offense right now, because we actually saw J.J. McCarthy. Hey,
Throw it a lot.
Yeah, you actually had to throw it a little bit. And the results still weren't great. So we'll talk about the outlook for that offense over one of the next 2 shows.
Number 10 is obviously Malik Neighbors. He's going to miss much of the season
Not
because
his
of
fault.
injury. So let me ask you this then. Has there been a gigantic bust of any of these 10? I think it's hard to fault a guy when he tears his ACL.
Not a gigantic bust.
I mean, Jefferson's got to be, injury aside, Neighbors. Of
course.
Jefferson's close.
The
Again,
closest.
it's not his fault, but the situation here, like we were just thinking, okay, he did it with Cousins, he did it with Darnold, he'll be fine with McCarthy.
Yeah.
It just hasn't been the case. I mean, it's been not
We've had
great.
years, though, where first-round picks who have stayed healthy have been, oh boy, big busts. So I feel like this has been a year where, relatively speaking, there haven't been.
Yeah,
Not
they're still
huge.
starting all these guys, with some level of confidence. It's fair. I mean, round two delivered the goods. I mentioned the names earlier with Taylor, Nakua, Achane, JSN, and Drake London, which, by the way, do you realize that in 3 of his last 4 games, Drake London has been not a good fantasy receiver, literally the number 1 scoring receiver.
You follow me on Twitter?
I do not.
Okay,
I do not. I used to, but then I just had to.
Too many fantasy tweets.
I think, and I was just looking this up while you guys were talking with each other. Justin Jefferson, wide receiver 13 right now on the season.
Yep.
Saquon Barkley, running back 11 on the season. I think Ashton Genty would be the only other player in the top 10 that's outside the top 10 currently
He's
at their
RB12,
position
I'm
on a
saying.
per-game basis.
Yeah.
Can I ask you really quickly, and some of these will be
whatever you
really
want, yeah.
fast. I think we got a little bit of time here.
No, do it. What do you want to do? Yeah.
We had, Mike, you mentioned a couple of names. I want to mention them and see where you guys would put them. Jonathan Taylor was not a first-rounder. If you were to put Jonathan Taylor rest of the season, is he just the clear number 1, 1.01?
The only argument against him is that he's going to be out this week.
The bye
Yeah.
week.
It's just that, hey, you've got
Although Niners haven't had their bye yet.
week
either,
14.
So,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
but you could say, hey, I'm past Jamar Chase's bye week, so I get,
Oh.
I could have.
Well, we got CMC number 1, and he hasn't had his bye week yet, so.
Yeah,
Right,
I would-
so
I would-
I'm talking about if you're ranking rest of season players. I was doing this based off of what we've done up to this point.
to
not
this
I
so
get
much
what you're
going
saying. Like
Okay.
Jameer Gibbs hasn't his bye, so I'll just take him over Taylor and see him.
I'm just saying, that would be the only argument for is that, you don't have to account for Taylor's absence. But yes, best player, if you told me the guy was playing, the highest ranked player for me would be Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I would take Taylor.
Just ahead of Christian McCaffrey.
Where would Puka slot into your lineup that you have right now?
I would go Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey in kind of a tier by themselves, and then I would probably go JSN, Puka, Jamar Chase in a three-man tier.
In that line, okay. Because the only other people that were there were Puka, JSN, Devon Achane, and you mentioned it, Drake London. You can maybe say Rashee Rice if you wanted with how he's played his first 3 games. But
I tell you, a guy who's making the case in some ways to be a top 10 player rest of season in terms of value because of what he plays? Trey McBride.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby.
Rushing.
He is dominating right now. And Brock Bowers was amazing 2 weeks ago and then was not this past week. So with the consistency and the upside of Trey McBride, just the fact that you can get you might have a 14-point advantage if the other person has just an okay tight end in a given week.
Let's just hope Jacoby Brissett doesn't turn into a pumpkin. So, but I don't think he's
That'd be the
even
biggest
if he
pumpkin
does.
ever.
Even if he does come back to earth, I mean, what is coming back to earth? Like the Kyler Murray level passing game that hasn't been great for years now.
I don't think he's coming back down to earth.
I don't even maybe I'm just reading into that statement, but the statement coming back to earth sounds like he's playing out of this stratosphere. I don't even think he's playing
Well,
unbelievably incredible
I mean,
football.
it was a really poor start this past week, and then garbage time
down
came
35-0.
around.
Yeah.
Well, that's when all this happened. That's when all the damage happened for that Arizona offense. So, I mean, that's the only thing I'm keeping an eye on because it's the last few years when he has filled in, he hasn't played at this level. He's been. I mean, he's literally. I don't know if you guys used this yesterday. I tweeted this. I don't know if you follow me on Twitter. But there's only one quarterback that has finished top 12 in fantasy points in each of his last 4 games. It's Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, we gave you credit multiple times.
We mentioned that on the show, and we said it was your stat.
All right.
So.
Well, I watch the show sometimes. When I'm not on.
That's fair.
Other times I'm busy.
My other hot take I consider, this is not really a fantasy one, but kind of a fantasy one. Mac Jones starts every game for the rest of the season for the 49ers.
Cool. Honestly,
It's trending that way.
I mean, with the way that Mac Jones is playing, are the 49ers really leaving a lot on the bench at this point,
Here's
even if
the
they do
question,
that?
too, is so you got to look at their schedule because I don't think the 49ers will pull Mac if he plays well in a given game. If he throws for 250 and 2 touchdowns, they'll say, all right, keep it rolling here.
They're coming off a loss, but they hung in there. Now they play, Seattle this week? That's going to be tough.
That's the Rams versus Seattle.
Oh, Rams, Seattle. Oh, Rams, Seattle. Yeah.
Tell me the game that you think they lose.
This week.
Come on.
Arizona.
You ready? Cardinals, Panthers, Browns, bye week, Titans, and then week 16, Colts.
Yeah. So
17
they're probably not
Bears.
losing until then. I mean,
18 Seahawks.
I've been very I'm a little lower on the Niners than many, but thank you, friend.
Yeah, of course, not a problem.
But yeah, they should. I mean, those are winning. That was the case for the Niners this year. Was that schedule's a walk in the park.
Yeah, and that's my potential hot take. All right.
How about the Jets? Who starts tomorrow?
I think Justin Fields.
Yeah, probably.
Brees Hall.
I don't like it though.
Jameis Winston might
Brees
be
Hall is
starting.
the only person that gets to start. Field and I talked about this. You get one Jet to be able to start in
And we don't
fantasy
even
football the
I
rest
don't
of the
feel,
year.
He was. I considered him for my
your
my
sit?
Not that
yeah.
I would go that far, but it's a tough
Tough matchup for sure.
I hope they switch to Tyrod, but we'll see. All
All right.
Here we go.
So Mike unfortunately lost starts of the week. Why don't we take a quick look back
It's a big week
starts
this past
of the
week.
week
Yeah, we all
just to
did.
see how everyone landed.
I hit some hits, and I'm thinking, not losing this week. Hit on some Kate Otten, and I hit on
Boom!
Trevion.
Here goes the
28.
boom!
Wow. Look at
28.
Field. Field, give me your lineup. That was huge.
Jared Goff for 24.8, Kamani Vidal with 17.8, Jamo with 23.9, and Colston Loveland with 9.5.
Is it Vidal?
I
Vidal?
heard Mike Tirico on Sunday night call him Vidal.
That's what I heard too, and it made me wonder if I've been saying it wrong this
I
whole
think
time.
we have been. I trust Mike Tirico with
All right, I
everything
had
related.
Jacoby Brissett, 19.4, RJ Harvey at 3.8, J-Mo at 23.9, and Colston Loveland for a cool 56.6. And Mike, where did you come in?
Yeah, well, I trusted a Packer again.
And a Chicago Bear.
Jordan Love throws one touchdown. If he throws that touchdown instead of handing it to Josh Jacobs, I actually beat you, which I thought you had Henderson. So I think
I
you
thought you
pivoted
needed a
off
huge
that.
night,
So
yeah.
that was closer than I thought. But Henderson with 28, Otten with 17, both good calls. And DJ Moore literally catches one 10-yard pass. I beat you as well, or 15-yard pass. So but got burned by the 0 on DJ Moore.
We got back-to-back weeks with Bears wide receivers with
Going
goose
for a
eggs.
0.
Yeah.
I'll be
That's
curious
tough.
if DJ Moore is available this week. Shoulder injury. Which
Yeah, but anyway, guys, life used to be good.
Life was good.
It was good back in the day when, every
sure.
week, I was just like, nope, not punished again, not punished
happening.
again. Not, But now I'm on this losing streak. So.
All right, let's
ready?
see how it goes.
Here we go. Ready?
We got the spin.
Anything but ice bath. Anything but ice
Anything but ice bath.
That's a very good spin right there.
That is good. Spin again! All right, spin again's just fun. The anticipation is building. Mike has winner makes you repick a spot.
So Field has to make me repick one of my
Starts of the week.
my starts of the week. All right, that's pretty light.
Okay, so tomorrow when we do starts of the week, or Friday, whatever day, what day is it today? Wednesday? I think
Today is Wednesday,
All right,
yes.
So when we do starts of the week on Friday,
Yes.
you're going to have to bring a backup at each spot, basically.
Okay. All
Okay?
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to, but
Yeah.
you'd be
By the
put
way,
on
off the
spot.
air, we're talking about a potential wrinkle to add into
Yeah,
we
starts
are.
of the week. So
We're
keep an eye out
discussing
for
ways
that
to
on
make
Friday.
it more lively and
Yes.
spirited.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it
Great
for today.
show.
This is a real fun show.
Thanks for having us, Old Studio.
Yeah, especially being back in the old
you.
place.
It's
Feels
weird.
good.
Yeah.
Mike, appreciate you showing up for work finally this week.
You're welcome. I've been
Field,
on vacation.
It's
since
been
Sunday.
great. Yeah, right. You've been on vacation.
I'll block you on
But
Twitter now.
105, 105 when our show ends and the games start, I head on vacation until Wednesday morning.
You're
I'm
out.
Gone.
You're like, I'm done.
Every week. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Again, that private jet money helps.
It really does.
That's why I hop on out of here.
Today's show was presented by Little Caesars. Make sure that you continue to love each other. Don't forget to love each other. Be kind to yourself. You guys deserve it. And we will see you back here on Thursday for another episode of Fantasy Focus. See ya.
You're in the 06010.